Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Koki of the Seahawk Recap Show, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you are all having a fine Friday morning, as I am here just to recap the Thursday night football game for your Seattle Seahawks when they took on the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona this week. And for a week 4 game, if I had to describe this game in one word, it would be uncomfortable because the Seahawks almost blew that game. So I'm here to recap it for you guys, give you my thoughts, and before I ramble on too much more in the intro, because I have a lot to say about this game, let's get into recapping Thursday night football, week 4, Cardinals versus Seahawks. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like. It helps me know if I'm doing a good job with these videos or not. And if you would like to, please subscribe to the channel. That would be greatly appreciated, as not only will you not want to miss out on any Seahawks future content from this channel, but I am trying to reach 100 subscribers by the end of the year. To the game summary. Seahawks win 23 to the Cardinals 20. And let's start off with the Arizona Cardinals because they were the home team. So they had 253 total yards, 164 passing yards, 89 rushing yards, averaged 4 yards per play, had 18 first downs. They went 6 for 15 on third down, went 1 for 1 on fourth down, had 64 total plays, 6 sacks allowed, 4 punts, 7 penalties for 46 yards given up, 0 fumbles lost, and 2 interceptions thrown, 1 picked off early in this game in the first quarter by Kobe Bryant. Now, sadly, something happened in this game where Kobe Bryant picked the ball off like a beast would, and then he got tackled by his own teammate, Therese Knight, pops the ball out, and the Cardinals recover the fumble on the interception. So they got the ball back. And the last interception that Kyler Murray threw was a big bobble by Marvin Harrison Jr. Ernest Jones just got up in his face, felt the pressure, and did a tip drill and caught the ball and was a beast. And the Cardinals ended off the day with 27 minutes and 36 seconds of possession time. For your Seattle Seahawks, they had 384 total yards, 229 yards passing, 155 yards rushing, average 6 yards per play, had 20 first downs. They went 6 for 13 on third down, went 0 for 1 on fourth down, had 64 total plays, 3 sacks allowed, 3 punts, 6 penalties for 74 yards given up. I will explain my thoughts on the penalties later on in my final thoughts because I have a lot to say there. They had 1 fumble lost due to Kobe Bryant's interception fumble, and no interceptions thrown by Sam Darnold. He had a good, clean game manager game like that. And the Seahawks ended off the day with 32 minutes and 24 seconds of possession time. For Ryan's focus players, let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals. And they were wearing their new NFL series rivalry jerseys. And I really like the jerseys that came out this year for all the teams that got them. I can't wait to see our Seahawks rivalry jerseys on, I believe it's week 16 versus the Rams at home. So that'll be nice to see. But let's get into the Cardinals. Let's talk about Kyler Murray for a second. 27 for 41, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 carries for 41 yards, averaged 8.1 yards per carry, and 0 touchdowns. And Kyler Murray, a tale of 2 halves for this Cardinals team in terms of offense, because Kyler Murray first half has 2 interceptions and basically no yards, like at all. And then that leads to them only getting 6 points in the first half. And at that point, when I'm watching it, Kyler Murray looked lost. He didn't know what he was doing with his wide receivers. Marvin Harrison and him had a bit of a connection issue. And the only one that could seem to get open in the first half for them was Trey McBride. But during the second half, Kyler Murray started to pick it up and realized why he was a first overall pick almost 8 years ago now. So, he had a decent game. I think it wasn't perfect by any means, but he had a decent game. The Marvin Harrison touchdown in the fourth quarter was insane, and he was the leading rusher for his team on the day because James Conner went down last week with a season-ending injury. So prayers up for him. But I think a decent game from Kyler Murray. Just some of his decision making is still a bit lackluster, and that's what I've got to say about Kyler Murray. He can make really great throws when he wants to, and he's very athletic, but he's sometimes his decision making just lacks a little bit to be desired. But let's get to the running back. Let's get to Trey Benson, the person taking over for James Conner. 8 carries, 35 yards, average 4.4 yards per carry, and 0 touchdowns. And I don't have much to say about Trey Benson, only that the Seahawks defense, you try to run a kind of gap zone kind of scheme inside the tackles, this Seahawks defense is not going to let you get anywhere, and that reflects in Trey Benson's numbers. But he is also he's a hard running back. Like he's not as shifty as you think and as elusive as you think, but when he gets the ball in his hands and he can get a little bit of space, he can be tough to bring down sometimes. So good game from Trey. Wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., 6 receptions for 66 yards, averaged 11 yards per reception, and had the 1 touchdown. And again, just like Kyler Murray, a tale of two halves for this guy and this Cardinals offense, because Marvin Harrison last year did have a bit of a case of the dropsies, where he just kept dropping passes. He kind of reminds me a little bit, while watching him, he kind of reminds me of what DK Metcalf does. Because on the Seahawks, DK Metcalf used to drop a lot of passes, and Marvin Harrison drops passes kind of like the same way DK Metcalf does. He tries to bring it in with his body instead of catching with his hands, because he thinks that he is a bigger wide receiver, more physical wide receiver, because that's why Marvin Harrison put on so much muscle during his second season. I think when you look at what's happening with Marvin Harrison, his confidence is obviously a big component to his game, because the first half, he dropped a couple passes. He ran routes that his quarterback didn't communicate to him very well. And that really shattered his confidence. And it was the Trey McBride show for the first half for the Cardinals, and that's why they only could get 6 points. You look at Marvin Harrison in the second half, just a completely different animal. He got the touchdown in the fourth quarter to bring his team back within a score, and his confidence rose from there. And he just kept catching ball after ball after ball after ball. And that's a big thing for him. Good game from Marvin Harrison Jr. Let's get to the Cardinals defense. Let's get to ageless wonder Calais Campbell. 2 solo tackles, 1 assisted, 1 sack, no forced fumbles. And the thing I want to talk about with Calais Campbell is at the age of 39, this guy is still a pure pass rusher. This guy is not only a mentor for any young type of edge group or D line group, but he is still a prolific pass rusher at the age of 49 years old. So great game from Calais Campbell. Got the sack on Sam Darnold. I'm like, oh yeah, that's bad. Whenever you get tackled by Calais Campbell, that's bad, because he will throw you into the dirt. So good game from Calais Campbell. Let's get to DB and let's get to corner. Max Milton, 2 solo tackles, 1 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. But a thing with Max Milton that I want to talk about is the Cardinals secondary was missing I think 3 corners, three of their top corners or something like that in this game. So their secondary was banged up already by injuries. And one thing I want to say about Max Milton is that he is a 2024 second-round draft pick for the Cardinals, and he was tasked with playing on JSN in the first half. The entire first half, JSN was invisible. he was completely invisible to the Seahawks team because it was Max Milton, Buda Baker, or whoever getting on JSN and not letting him even be an option for Sam Darnold. So it became kind of the tight end show. And you know what? He did a fantastic game locking up JSN for a half of football, considering that JSN is, in my opinion, one of the best wide receivers in football. And he's obviously the number one for the Seahawks ever since DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett departed. So he's a really good wide receiver. So I think Max Milton, the 23-year-old, same age as me, by the way, uh, can really hang his hat on, stopping a prolific wide receiver. Let's get to linebacker and let's get to the leader of this linebacking core, Mack Wilson Sr. 4 solo tackles, 3 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. And the thing I like about Wilson is that he has found a home in this Cardinals defense. But he is exactly like a Ernest Jones, very decent communicator, and is the leader of the play calls in this Cardinals defense. And he made some tackles on Kenneth Walker. He made some tackles on Jack Charbonnet. And he's flying everywhere. He was flying everywhere on the field. And he got injured in this game, then came back and played great the rest of the way. So good game for Mack Wilson. I think he is a really good middle linebacker for this Cardinals defense. Let's get to the Seahawks now. Let's talk about Sam Darnold, 18 for 26, had 242 total passing yards, the 1 touchdown to AJ Barner in the first half, and no interceptions. Sam Darnold really has impressed me over these past 4 games. And I'll tell you why. This Cardinals defense of line was insanely good today, getting multiple pressures on Darnold and getting a couple sacks here and there, but also the amount of times that I saw Sam Darnold flushed out of the pocket and just able to run around and make sure that he can find open wide receivers, it's a gift. It's a gift as a quarterback to do that. And one thing I noticed on the broadcast, I forget who mentioned it, but it wasn't Al Michaels, but his broadcast partner, I forget his name, I apologize, but he was talking about Sam Darnold's footwork and saying, like, watch his footwork, watch his progression work. And if you see his progression work and his footwork, they're all in rhythm, they're all in sync with one another, and that's how he's able to avoid taking as many sacks as he has been in the past. Ever since coming over from the Vikings, I think that's something that he worked on with Kevin O'Connell, and he had a great game in this one. Game manager didn't put much uh, in the way of mistakes. He made it so that JSN could catch balls in the second half to eventually lead us to winning this game. So great game from Sam Darnold. Like, I think he's been doing very well in his first 4 games as a Seahawk. Let's get to running back Kenneth Walker, 19 carries for 81 yards, averaged 4.3 yards per carry, 0 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker, man, he has a pure spot on this team, and I think he did decent. Like, I think he did very well. I think this run first type of team for the Seahawks, they're getting back into rhythm with it. And that's all thanks to Clint Kubiak. But when you look at a D line like the Cardinals have, their D line and the Seahawks D line are very, very good. That's what causes some issues in the run game. But the Clint Kubiak style of running this offense is not like the Ryan Grubb style where he's going to give up on the run. Clint Kubiak's like, okay, I'm going to give Kenneth Walker 19 carries a game to get us some yardage, um, to get us some much needed yardage to put us in positions to win. And I think Kenneth Walker did very well. The screen pass that he made in the first half, when the run game wasn't going very well because some of the blocking was messed up, they got a screen pass out to Kenneth Walker with like 3 wide receivers, and then Kenneth Walker came over and caught a screen pass, and it was a thing of beauty because it was a 29-yard gain. And I was like, wow, that's insane. That's one way to get Kenneth Walker, the explosive back's attention, and trying to get him the ball. Any way you can get Kenneth Walker touches is a very good game indeed. Wide receiver, let's talk about Jackson Smith in Jigba. 4 receptions for 79 yards, averaged 19.8 yards per reception, 0 touchdowns. And you know what? After being held off the game sheet for the entire first half, he got some catches, some very huge, huge catches in this second half to put this game on ice for Jason Myers. He had 23 seconds to catch the game, basically the game winning ball for the Seahawks to set Jason Myers up for what, a 51-yard field goal? And it was a thing of beauty. Jackson Smith and Jigba, his body control, the way he's able to diagnose routes, the way he's able to run his routes so crisp is insane. And this is what makes him a versatile wide receiver, even on the outside. Like, I know his game plan is usually from the slot, but he's been working a lot more on the outside as of late because they've needed him to, and he's still saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm used as a slot guy, but I can play outside too." And he really did well in this game. Good game from Jackson Smith and Jigba. Let's talk about the Seahawks defense now, and let's talk about defensive lineman Leonard Williams. 3 solo tackles, 1 assisted, 1.5 sacks, and no forced fumbles. And Leonard Williams, man, every time I talk about this Seahawks D line, you've got to talk about Leonard Williams. Like, he is such a factor. Like, I could put him in my focus players every week because he is just that anchor on this D line. He is so impactful. He batted passes at the line a couple times against Kyler Murray using his height advantage. And he got in there for sacks. And the thing about this Mike McDonald defense is that they were rushing for a whole heck of a lot in this game, and they were getting as much pressure as they could on Kyler Murray, and it started to work. That's why this defense only allowed 6 points, 2 field goals in that first half. So good game from Leonard Williams. Just love seeing it. Let's talk about DB and welcome back Devin Witherspoon. 5 solo tackles, 4 assisted, half a sack, and no interceptions. Man, I miss Devin Witherspoon. I love this guy. He is the best corner on the Seattle Seahawks, in my opinion, and he's just a monster. When he goes up to tackle anybody on the field, he gives no holds barred. He's either going to make that tackle and secure it, or he's going to light you up so that you never want to catch the ball again. Now, he did have some issues in this game with Marvin Harrison, but Marvin Harrison is a big wide receiver to deal with. So, all in all, Devin Witherspoon coming off the injury, getting back, and his ankle looks fine, man. His ankle looks fine. I love watching him play. Great game to have him in, because if I really look at it and how close this game was, coming down to a field goal, if we didn't have Devin Witherspoon, the Seahawks might have lost this game. So great game from Devin Witherspoon. Let's get to linebacker, and let's talk about a man that I have not talked about in a very long time. Uchenna Nwosu, 3 solo tackles, 2 assisted, 2 sacks, no interceptions. And man, that feels so nice to say Uchenna Nwosu's name, because when he was on the Chargers and signed a 3-year contract coming over to Seattle during the Pete Carroll era, he got injured. And he's been injury prone basically his whole career. Now, coming off of injury, coming into this Mike McDonald defense, playing for the injured DeMarcus Lawrence, he comes in and he has such an ability to rush off the edge as a pass rusher. Him and Boy Mafe were having a lot of fun this game. And I love seeing Uchenna Nwosu back, man. Like coming back from injury is hard in the NFL. I could only imagine. Again, I'm a guy sitting in his basement basically and watching the games. I can't imagine what it's like to go through as much adversity as Uchenna Nwosu has. He had a great game. The 2 sacks were just flashes of his old Charger days, and he's shown everybody that when healthy, he's still got it. So great game from Uchenna Nwosu. My final thoughts. What went well? The defense put in a good effort today to get us this win. I was really impressed that Mike Macdonald's defense could only like rush 4 in this game with 4 defensive linemen and still get as much pressure as they did on Kyler Murray today. And that's what I was saying. Like his ability to play the zone defense that he does for this Mike Macdonald defense is immaculate because he's got guys in this rotation on the defensive front to just control not only how much pressure you get, but also he's relying on those guys heavily to control the run game, and they do it very, very well. I'm really impressed in the second year of this Mike Macdonald team how well he's adapted and got his guys in the proper places to make this a very, very lethal defense, and especially the front 4. But I think the first half was a dominant showing. 17 points, 17-6. You had scored all your points on offense in the first half, and you were controlling the game. It was going well, and it was great to see. I think the defense really played well in the first half as well, only allowing 6 points. That's amazing for any going against any opponent. If you allow, no touchdowns in the first half, you're gonna most likely win this game because points are very hard to come by in the NFL. But what to improve on? I think penalties in this game were a big issue for the Seahawks. Not in terms of, again, we're going back to the penalties, not in terms of how many they took. It's the way they took them. It's where they took them. And it's which ones they took. I'm going to point to 3 specific examples here. Whether you agree with the calls or not and say, oh, it's a soft call or not, you just shouldn't do it because you're trying to salt away the game. One of the penalties I want to talk about is the JSN holding call in the 4th quarter, negating the Zach Charbonnet touchdown to extend the Seahawks lead to 24 points in the 4th quarter. It was 5 minutes left. That play you just can't do, and people were saying, oh, it's a soft call, it's a BS call, whatever. But I went back and watched it, and my reaction when I first saw it was like, oh, come on. Like they called it there. Like they called it there because Zach Charbonnet had a wide open lane. He came in to the end zone untouched. And when I watched it, I was like, oh, wow. That's BS. Like they called JSN for that because he kind of like he sort of pulled him down, but he didn't really, and da 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 da. Is that like suggestive? And then JSN obviously yelled into the open mic going, oh, that's stupid. That's bullshit. And I'm like, yeah, you can say that in the moment, but then you watch the replay and JSN didn't need to commit a hold there. All he needed to do was block. He made a wide open hole. I get it. You're blocking as a wide receiver. You want to help your guys out. But if you look at how and where Zach Charbonnet was going with the ball, he was already past JSN when he took that holding call. So that's something you shouldn't do. It cost you points, not only as a touchdown, but then when the holding call was called, you go back 10 yards and the Seahawks just couldn't do anything with it. They literally couldn't do anything with it. And that forced Jason Myers to kick a field goal to bring us not to 24 points, but to 20. And then the rest of the game happened in the fourth where the defense got tired. And I'm just going to say, Woolen, 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 listen to me. You had some big penalties in this game, brother. Um, and you had two pass interference calls where you didn't even try to locate the ball. They are going to call that on you every single time. The refs are going to call pass interference calls when you don't try to get your head around and locate the football. That's just how it's going to be. Don't do that. There was another face mask call that extended a drive earlier in this game, and luckily the Seahawks defense bailed him out there. But Warren's been taking a lot of penalties that I just don't like for a guy that's in his fourth year and who needs a contract. Loved Reek Woolen as a rookie. I love him on the Seahawks, but over the past 2 years, he's had some very, very penalizing, lazy kind of takes. He's got the wingspan of a Greek god, but he's allowing his physical gifts to try and bail him out. And you can't do that all the time. So honestly, Rick, you just need to be better, man. Because those kind of penalties, those two pass interference calls, saved drives for the Cardinals and then allowed them to score 14 points in the fourth, very quick, in succession, and then allowed them to tie up the game 20-20. So, yeah, you just can't do that. Overall, though, Seahawks, in my opinion, get away with this one on Thursday night football and move the win streak up to 3. That is great to see. I am not complaining about the win streak. I am happy. I am happy that they are winning. I am happy. But again, the reason why I sound angry after this win is that you almost blew the game, guys. It came down to JSN pulling off a miracle catch with like 23 seconds left to put you in position to win this game. Offense was stymied in that second half, getting field goal after field goal after field goal because they kept making play calls. And Clint Kubiak, again, I'm going to get on his case a little bit here because he was running the ball on 2nd and 9, putting us in third down situations that are third and long so that they are must pass. You can't do that, especially with a Cardinals offense that finally woke up in the second half, in the fourth quarter when they needed it most. Marvin Harrison catching that touchdown brought him confidence back, and he then like just kept catching everything in that fourth quarter. So again, I am happy for the Cardinals. You guys are the most infuriating team I have ever met, because although the Seahawks have beaten you 8 times in a row, you guys always seem to make the games close, and I hate you for that because you keep giving this Seahawks fan right here, and I think most of Seattle, heart attack, like cardiac arrest type of jitters, because you know you guys wake up sometimes and then you put on a clinic and it's like, okay, well, we're gonna need to score and kick a field goal with 3 seconds left to win this game. We're still gonna win it, but you lull us into a false sense of security and then you turn it on. So you guys are a scrappy team. Ever since I've started the Seahawks game recap videos, you guys have always been scrappy. That's always something I've said about you guys. And 2-2 in this division. Hopefully you'll bounce back next week because you could have won this game if you had just woken up with the offense a little bit earlier. Who knows what would have happened? Anyways, that is it for this Thursday night football week 4 game recap. Seahawks again move on. 3 wins in a row. And that is a beautiful thing to hear. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What did you think of this game? And I will see you guys in the next video. Go Hawks, go! And take care of yourselves. Have a good day.